Okay. Took me a little bit to... Are we there? Okay. Hi, guys. I wanted to jump on here. This lighting is not the greatest. The setup is definitely not the greatest, but I am not attached to all of that. I was going to jump on earlier, and the lighting was like so much better in this room, but I am just trusting flow and learning that, sometimes the timing doesn't always align with how you want it to. But all that to say, good evening. Good evening. I've missed you guys. Oh my gosh, it has been such a wild year, and I feel like I kind of was popping on here and there on live on my YouTube channel, but very sporadic this year, that is for sure. I don't know about you guys. Hi, Michelle. Definitely pop in. I can see you guys on this live chat, so I want to make this very interactive. You guys are very much a part of this, so if there's any questions that come up, you can help guide the way. You guys are my co-hosts. I'm not just doing this alone. I have my little tea here. And then I've got incense burning, so we're getting the vibes right. Hi, Kristen. I don't know about you guys, but 2019, whew, geez, it was like, for me, anything that was not in alignment with my, hi, Miss Lovely, it's good to be back, thank you so much. Anything that was not in alignment with my purpose and how I'm supposed to show up in the world fell away. And I've kind of course, already shared with some of you guys, and if you haven't seen one of my last videos, it's just titled Divorce, dun dun dun, so dramatic. Then definitely make sure to check that out. But I really haven't shared with you guys in depth since that video, and there's like 60,000 views on that video, and I look back at it now. I haven't watched it, but I've grown so much even since that last video. It hasn't even been a full year, and I feel like another person because of all of the healing and journeys that I have gone down, and I literally feel like a new person because I am. This spiritual awakening process that everyone goes down is not linear. It's very, it can be sometimes messy. So if you find yourself in that season currently, just be encouraged. There's no rule book to this. I can't give you a step-by-step of exactly what to do. You really have to come back here to center, to your intuition, and really be guided for your own journey. So that's why what I did this last season, I really took some time to cocoon in like a little butterfly, or like a little caterpillar. It must cocoon in, and it actually turns into nothing. Turns into this like crazy mush of nothingness, only to begin rebuilding and becoming this beautiful butterfly. It has no idea. It thinks it's dying. This caterpillar thinks it's dying, and that's how this spiritual awakening process feels sometimes. So I have had my dark nights of the soul. Geez, you guys, it was like anything that I felt like I was trying to build was crumbling. It was the goddess. What I'm learning, the goddess is humbled me, and I was operating in such toxic masculine energy because we have each, right? It's like this infinity symbol in each of us. Do you see the infinity symbol when I make this? So each of us have a sacred feminine and sacred masculine energy, and we are very much stuck in the stories of our gender right now. And so the world is really lacking, and I think a sense of identity. We are going through a shedding process. So someone's saying that they feel the same way, that they've been going through it. And hello, Ashley, I see you. So to come back to this idea of masculine and feminine, you know, some of you guys know I was like with Ipsy, and I was like, you know, I had a studio and a production budget, and I had, you know, a crew, and I had all of these resources. And I was, you know, going through my marriage. I was a newlywed, and I was going through deep, deep shadow work. And what I mean by shadow work is, I don't know if you guys know what this means to you. To me, what shadow work is really that process of shedding your ego and being faced with this choice to really rise up to exactly who you're supposed to be in this world and how you're supposed to show up. So for me, and this can coincide, I don't know if you've studied Saturn return, if you've checked your chart, and I could be talking all gibberish to you, and this is what I mean by like my awakening has happened so quickly that while I was like dabbling in these things on the side, and I wasn't really vocal with you guys on this channel about, it's just been like I literally just had an incredible initiation into the person that I am today. And so I feel so grateful to have had that time. So thank you for your patience and grace with me during this time of just really marinating in what I needed to share with you guys. I didn't feel comfortable even, and I'm still in a process of holding some things really close to the chest because I am in this process of self-mastery. So all that to say, I was operating in major masculine. I was the doer. I was creating things and just like pushing myself. While inside, I was literally so lost, so confused. I had so much anger. I had so much like pent up anger still from undealt with pain that I never ever uncovered. And so I brought that into a brand new marriage. And the truth is so did Corey. So each of us were doing this like, you know, he was going through his spiritual awakening simultaneously. And so I don't want to spend too much time talking about that because that's for another time. Feel free, though, if you guys have specific questions, I'd be happy to answer. But that's still being navigated through. We actually have communicated a few different times. It's been brief. We have not seen each other since I walked out of the house last, you know, I think it was March. So it's been nearly a year since we've seen each other. And we've had some incredible downloads and understandings of why we've been taken through this process. And we're really trying to navigate through conscious uncoupling and what that looks like. And for me, I've just felt very unsafe being in his energetic field just because of everything that kind of happened. So I've been healing my body, doing, you know, a lot of different work around that. Because I completely lost touch. Like I completely disassociated with my body. I think a lot of you could probably relate if you've had any sort of trauma at all from early childhood development, or maybe you're in a toxic relationship, or there's a lot of unsafe energy around you. We tend to just like go inside and kind of like shut down. And so I had shut down in so many ways, and my light was continuing to dim in ways that are devastating to look back on now. But I realize now that it's all such a gift. So I'm able to come to this place now with confidence and tell you that I am so grateful for all of the pain and for all of the suffering. And you can tell a lot about someone that is able to say that because they've been humbled and they realize that through great suffering comes great reward. So in the interim, like in the time of it happening, not as easy to say, not as easy to kind of just, you know, realize it in real time. I'm getting quicker and quicker to that, but yeah, during the process, the dark night of the soul type process, it's very challenging to just be giving gratitude for it. And that's part of the process too. So all that to say, you know, since I last kind of did a video, I think I had gone to, hi Renee, hi my love. Hi Alondra, I see you. I had gone to Peru. I went to do some deep spiritual, you know, I call it an initiation. And when I say initiation, it's basically, kind of like, okay, if you guys have seen the movie The Matrix, it's kind of this moment, the blue pill, red pill moment. And it's like you get to choose which way to go. And so I've been playing with this choose your own adventure type experience over this last year, and just like choosing things that I wouldn't normally, and just really taking risks in ways that were very scary to me in the past, and really learning to surrender fully in. And that has served me very well. We'll say that. So I said yes to Peru, an investment that I had never done in my entire life. I mean, the trip cost me, you know, several $1,000s that, you know, I normally would never spend that kind of money on myself for, because of fear of lack or not having enough in the future. And so putting it away in savings and all of these things. I had just, you know, ended my contract at Ipsy, so I had every reason to just store some of that money away and just, you know, play it safe. But instead, I said, no, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to go on this journey and see where it takes me. So from there, this experience in Peru completely shifted a course for me in a different direction than my life was currently going. And I am just beyond grateful for what transpired out there. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I mean, I knew I was signing up for plant medicine, and I had been very curious about ayahuasca for probably a couple years at that point. But I mean, to know something about me, guys, is that I grew up in a very religious environment. I grew up with, you know, Christian parents that my dad would talk about how he had, you know, psychedelic experiences back in the 60s. But I like had smoked weed a few times in my life. Okay. And by a few, I mean, literally, like I could have counted on one hand. I was not somebody who, you know, had done mushrooms a lot or, had tried any sort of psychedelics. I was very, I would drink occasionally. And, so to go from like, you know, some would say like 0 to 1,000, and go straight to ayahuasca. And there was a lot of people in my group also that went that were the same. And it blasted me to another dimension. So there was a lot of prep work that came with that. And I'll do another video because I don't want to spend too much time talking about my experience of that. But if you guys are curious and are kind of delving into, I think, thank you, Gwyneth Paltrow, for her new series on Netflix, because she kind of destigmatizes what's happening in the psychedelic space as far as assisted therapies and stuff like that. So if you go on Netflix and watch Gwyneth Paltrow's new series called The Goop Lab, they do talk about magic mushrooms, and kind of they go down a journey of showing you a little bit more about the psychedelic world and how it's actually becoming a lot more mainstream and not so like crazy like it used to be. So I will leave that with you guys there, and we'll move forward. So from there, you know, I came back from Peru, and hi Kristen, hi Darla. Came back from Peru. Okay, I'll tell you one story about Peru quickly. While we were out there, one of the shamans I was working with, you know, I told him that my intention was to cut energetic cords, because we all have these energetic cords that kind of like come out of our solar plexus. This is all like woohoo spiritual stuff, and we can dig deeper into more of these topics later, but we literally have energetic cords connecting us to different individuals. So it was very clear that I had energetic cords to Corey that I really wanted to cut, that were you know, bringing up a lot of fear in me and my body. So all that to say, I did that in the process. Through some of the medicine work, I cut some cords, and the medicine showed me some pretty mind-blowing visions of, you know, where this is all heading for he and I, and it just gave me a beautiful picture of what this all represented and gave me a lot of peace, which was such a gift. In addition, though, towards the end of the trip, we were on Lake Titicaca in Peru, and I don't know if you guys have heard of Akashic Records, but one of the girls in our group wanted to open up our Akashic Records. You guys can write this stuff up and Google it, you know, and or I can do another video on it. Comment below and let me know if you guys ever want to see, you know, some more in-depth stuff, but I'm just going to kind of breeze through this stuff. And the reading that they wanted to open up our Akashic Records to talk about partnership. And they were wanting to call, some of the group and, you know, that came with us wanted to call in future partnership. And I was sitting in the group and I really hesitated. And so we kind of went in a circle. There's about 17 of us. And it came around to me and it was like to call in partnership. And I was in the middle of dissolving a partnership. So I got really nervous and I kind of like, you know, went, Lynette, I can sense some hesitation. What is it that, you know, you're thinking or feeling? And I just explained, I said, I can't be calling in partnership when I'm in the middle of like dissolving, like I'm in the middle of cutting energetic cords from this partnership that's dissolving. Like I can't possibly be calling in something, you know, different. And that was a really big moment for me because I exercised my throat and my throat chakra, my voice, and I shared exactly what was on my heart. I didn't skirt around it. I just shared exactly from my heart what I was feeling. And he was able to guide me and he said, Lynette, the marriage that you experienced, that relationship is dying. Your higher self wants you to experience the greatest, most safe, beautiful, and loving partnership that you deserve. And when he said the words, you deserve, something like in my spirit just like felt, oh, I don't even know. It was just this overwhelming sense of deep inner knowing that of course you deserve this, Lynette. Like you are a great fucking partner. You can call in whatever you want. While one thing is falling away, it is okay to be wishing and hoping and calling in what it is that you do deserve and want to experience. That's okay. There's no timeline to this. Time is very relative and it doesn't have to look exactly how you think. You don't have to suffer for 5 years and just, you know, hope that one day this person shows up. So all that to say, he said, I want you to practice calling in exactly what you're looking for in partnership. So this was in June, okay? I wrote down in my journal bullet points of what I would like to experience in a partner moving forward. And this story is going somewhere, I promise. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, then this is going to be a fun video for you. Because if you do follow me on Instagram, then you know where I'm going with this. But yeah. So I come back from Peru. I actually was asked to go on a couple dates. And I did go, and I met this wonderful man, that, you know, took me on a few dates. We started dating briefly, and, you know, he's done a lot of deep spiritual work as well. And we kind of were just like reaching this point where it just wasn't, like, it just didn't fit. Something felt strong, like a strong no. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Everything on paper in my mind felt like this was somebody that I, you know, would really like to be pursued by or adored by rather. But like something in my body was like, no. And I was still like forcing it almost. Because he was so handsome, and you guys would laugh because he has a very similar look to Corey. They're not personality-wise the same at all, but there's similarities, so it was like this test, and I think the universe will do that for you, and like it'll show up in like these little tests to see like how you react. So this was definitely one of those moments for me. But we still continued to talk, and it was like a really beautiful friendship that was blossoming. And he mentioned to me one day though, after a really deep conversation, he said, Lynette, I know that you used to date women in the past, and I just really feel like you should continue pursuing dating a woman. Like, I know it's been 8 years, but that's what you said, but I don't know exactly how the conversation came up, but he was like, I think you should probably start, opening yourself up to the idea of dating a woman again. And I kind of was offended, I'll be honest. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? And just like that, it was like manifestation at its finest, because the conversation happened, the universe heard, and about a week later, another dear friend texted me in this group text and said, hey, I have this extraordinary woman I think you should meet. My intuition is just telling me that you should meet her, and I think you guys should go on a date. And in my head and heart, I was like, what is going on? This is so weird. But I was enticed by the idea. I was like, I had shut that part of myself down, and it came from a place of a lot of false guilt and shame of why I did that, because of the Christian world and a lot of how I grew up. And I've kind of shared with you guys briefly about a lot of this. So if you haven't gone down that rabbit hole, you can all you have to do is Google Lynette and Corey, and you can see my ex and I talking about some of these topics. And you can see just a very scared, confused young woman. I'll say that. And my reasoning behind, a lot of things was based on really a lot of fear and guilt, shame. And shame is a fucking bitch, man. It will level you, and you will show up in the universe in ways that are not in your purpose, that are not in alignment with who you're called here to be, and it keeps you playing very small. So this blind date was like set up, and I was like so nervous. So I told the guy that I was dating at the time, I was like, hey, by the way, on Friday night or whatever the day was, I was like, I'm going on a date with this woman, and he ended up knowing her. So the guy that I was currently dating ended up kind of knowing this girl, this woman that I was gonna go on a date with. And he was like, oh my gosh, her name is Emmy. So he was like, oh, you're going on a date with Emmy Bush? He's like, basically, see you later, because she's pretty awesome, and yada yada. So I'm nervous now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I knew nothing about her. She has like no digital footprint. I literally only had a little bubble of a photo, like her Instagram photo, but her profile was private. So I didn't even add her before we went on our date. And all that I could see was like her beautiful smile, and it melted my heart. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll go. So I went on a date with Emmy for the first time. And this was in July. And so this is like a few short weeks after making that list that I was talking about earlier. And I went, I'm not going to go into the full story, because I'd like actually for her to come on the channel and talk about this, because guys, we now have been dating for like, I've been off grid, but we've been dating since July. So I'm fully head over heels in love, and in this new relationship with someone who has transformed my life in ways and healed me in ways that I can't even fully express. And I want her to be here to kind of like share in the story. And so we'll have to like plan a whole video around that. But yeah, like crazy stuff. So if you follow me on Instagram at Lynette Sine, you guys can see photos. And yeah, see, okay, so Angela, you've been following me. We bought a VW bus, a 77 VW bus. It's all happening. Crazy stuff is happening. I went to Burning Man. We went on a 2-month like traveling trip together. We just got back. We went to New York City and Colorado with her family for Thanksgiving. And then we went to Costa Rica, and we actually sat in some medicine ceremonies together. Someone says you look like you love shrooms. Magic mushrooms have taught me a lot, I will say that. Anyways, so thank you, thank you. People are saying congratulations, so thank you. Yeah, it's been a crazy journey, and honestly, so much has come up in me throughout this process because it feels really strange, of course, because everything happened so quickly after this separation. And yeah, like I've been documenting. Yeah, Renee says you're free, and she puts a little rainbow. Uh, that's what I feel. I feel freer than I have since probably my early 20s when I was dating women again, because I was showing up, you know, and people were having a really hard time with what I was doing, but I just was still showing up as authentically as I can. And I'm back at that space. And while it's very scary and there's a lot of stuff that comes with that, for example, my parents are basically fully shut down, and they are very confused and very conflicted. I mean, my dad's just basically absent. He's not saying a lot. We don't ever really talk about my sexuality. That's not something that like is like super comfortable to talk about with your father. Um and with my mother, she's just having a very, very challenging time. And so in the beginning, I even 10 years ago, I didn't know how to have compassion for that. In the same breath, here I'm asking to be seen and held and understood by my family, but I'm also needing to do the same for them. So it's important to come from a space of listening with the intent of understanding, because they just come from a very specific program, and it just doesn't make sense. And she's doing her best to try and like love me through it, but feeling very challenged spiritually. The Christian world isn't really set up to affirm this community, and that's by design, and we'll get into more of that later. But all that to say, it's been definitely painful in certain moments. It hasn't been easy, and you guys know me, I'm like really, really strong, and I'm normally able to like navigate through times that are really challenging. But I'll be honest, this last year took light out of me that I didn't even have enough of. Like, I was literally like, you see these little candles? I mean, I felt like my light was like flickering. It was not burning brightly. It was flickering, and I was really struggling with depression, and I was developing anxiety that I've never had in my entire life. I don't even like to say that out loud, like, because that's never been me. I've never been somebody who has had, deep depression or anxiety, but I even was experiencing extreme suicide ideation. And, I don't know if it was ever something. I think a lot of us, we don't really talk about these things. But the truth is the dark night of the soul moment happens for quite a lot of us, and we don't verbalize them. We don't really talk about them as openly as we should, and that's shifting in our world, which is such a gift. And now people are being a lot more bold and brave to just share their process and share where they're at, and I think that's all a part of it. I actually lost a few dear friends this past year to one was an overdose, and then another one was death by suicide. And it wasn't a dear, it wasn't like a super close friend of mine, but in fact, it was a friend of mine's ex-girlfriend. And they were in a same-sex relationship. So one of my childhood friends, she's a lesbian, and her ex-girlfriend took her life. And this was actually over Thanksgiving. And this was another turning point for me to really get clear and understand that my mission here is very, very specific, and it's not this linear journey. It's very wild and colorful and unpredictable. And so I'm really learning to embrace, we talked a little earlier about the sacred feminine and sacred masculine, or, divine feminine, divine masculine, that we all have in each of us. And I have been reintegrating the sacred feminine, which is just to trust and fall back and realize that flow is when you are just in full surrender of what God has or Goddess has for you. It's understanding that you are worthy of all of your wildest dreams, and being diligent in your practices every day to come back to that space to remember who you are. And right now, you guys, we live in a very, very noisy time. There's so much stuff to pay attention to. And so that is also by design, to keep you in a shame cycle of the danger of comparison. It's to, keep you away from your purpose. So what you focus on is what you see. So I encourage you, and I know this sounds maybe like a very common thing that people say, but please start unfollowing accounts that aren't in alignment with your highest good. And what I mean by your highest good is when you look at that account and you're scrolling through on Instagram, or you're scrolling through on YouTube or on Twitter or whatever platform, there's so many, TikTok, whatever. If it is not causing you to really see yourself and know yourself deeper, or inspiring you to do so, or giving you any sort of guidance to spur on this new awakening in yourself, it doesn't have to be something like super intense, but I just mean, if you're not feeling good in your body when watching something, if you're not feeling light and encouraged and excited and uplifted, then I encourage you to let it fall away. Because the second that I stepped out of an industry that I wasn't feeling good in my body within, the beauty industry, I think I was focused on maybe some of the wrong things. I think, as much as I adored being at Ipsy, there is an energetic thing happening there, and there was a lot of drama happening in the industry, and I was just having to see a lot of petty and catty behavior between people, and I was just devastated by it, and it was really affecting me. So I really took this last year to completely remove myself. I didn't really do, you guys saw, I haven't been doing really any brand deals. I have just kind of decided to really assess what lights me up inside. And those things have shifted so much. And so I've now gotten really clear on my why. Why am I here? And those are important questions that each of us kind of have to ask ourselves. So I have, gone down this journey and really changed things up for myself, and now been seeing the fruits of shifting that. And I look forward to also having you guys, join me on this journey, because you all have a seat at this table, and we all are going to rise together, and we need each other. We really need each other. And I'm working on a very special women's retreat coming up in Costa Rica that, I'm going to open up to a few different women that I really, we're going to do kind of like a application process, because there's only very limited spots. So look forward to a lot of this stuff. I'm just in such... I'm just so humbled. I will say this. I am so humbled to be used in the ways that I am going to be. I look forward to sharing more of my process of, dissolving a very serious relationship and helping you guys through that. And I know that eventually, when Corey and I are in a more healthy place, that we will do content again together. And I know that Emmy and I want to do content together, and I would love to bring her on and have you guys meet her. And slowly but surely just getting healthier and really taking time to nourish my vessel, doing a lot of yoga and breath work and some seriously deep meditation. Wow. So much crazy stuff, you guys. And I look forward to, again, I keep saying I look forward to because I have all of these exciting, videos in mind that I would like to do that are just way different than I've ever explored before. And so everyone, has been kind of anticipating and waiting where this was all going to lead. But I do have one exciting announcement. I'm going to start, yes, I'm working on a retreat, which is coming up this May. Also, I have started a podcast and it's on Anchor, and I will link it in the description box below. It's going to be the Lynette Magic and Mystery Hour. It's just funny because, I tried to launch a podcast, last year, and it just was not, it didn't feel right. So I'm now relaunching something and just playing and trying new things. So look out for that on Anchor. It's going to be a completely relaxed format. I am not getting attached to being a perfectionist because then I'm just putting nothing out. And so that's going to go a little bit deeper into some of my spiritual practices. And so I've had a lot of questions from you guys on Instagram, and you've asked me to kind of dig more in depth to what sort of things that I have been experiencing. So I figured that's like a cool space to kind of explore on that front. And again, I will do some spiritual videos on here for sure. But another thing that I'm excited to tell you guys about, I just lost my train of thought. Give me 1 second. Let me drop in. It was the podcast. And then, oh my gosh, this is huge. I have also been going down a journey and really playing with oracle cards. And I have started giving readings, private readings to people. And I'm actually in the process right now of building a calendar so that you yourself can schedule with me and you can have a private reading. So these are all really exciting things, and I know it seems like such a crazy shift, but that's what can happen when you really, really sign up for deep healing and transformation. It happens really quick. So I love you guys so much. I really look forward to this new journey and this new season. 2020, the year of clear vision. I have a lot of back stored content from a lot of my travels that I look forward to kind of cutting together and editing and putting them on so you guys can kind of, catch up and see some of the stuff that you've missed. But I just kind of needed to jump on here and share with you where I've been. So definitely follow me on Instagram. I treat that kind of like my daily vlog. Sometimes I'm more active than others. I will drop off for a few days and kind of, pull my little disappearing act, like I said. But you can always trust that I am up to some incredible, I guess, understandings from above. So I've been thinking of all of you. I haven't forgotten you. But yeah, that time was very necessary. So thank you for, being there. Hannah says, you're so beautiful inside and out. Thank you for the update. You've been surely missed. Thank you, Hannah. I so appreciate you, sister. I've missed you guys too, truly. And the messages that have come through on Instagram this last year have saved me in ways that I cannot fully express. Ugh, you guys have been so good to me, truly, and kept me and just really held me in this really safe container full of love and light. And I have felt it so deeply, and I want to just now ricochet that back to you guys and now share with you, some of the, things that I've been learning and going down. So that's all for now. This is already now almost a 40-minute video. You guys know me. I'm very long-winded. Welcome to an air sign. I am you know, an Aquarius. My birthday, you guys, my 33rd birthday, my angel birthday. The 33 is an angel number. My 33rd birthday is actually on February 12th. Oh, crazy. So, and Emmy, my partner, she just turned 33 on January 16th. So we both are 33 this year, and gosh, I am not new to, Kristen's asking if I'm new to the LGBTQ community. I'm actually not. I dated women about 10 years ago exactly. When I was 23, I'm about to be 33. So about 10 years ago, I was dating women. And now I am back but I don't identify as anything. So I identify as just a lover of people. So, you know, that's where I'm at. But thank you guys for listening. I love you so very much. And I hope I'm sending you guys, feel it. Take 3 deep breaths with me. Ready? See, it's so important to drop back in and remember where you are. We get so lost sometimes in here. So, I am sending you guys some serious good vibes. Feel it from across the screen. Feel it with me. I love you so much. There's so much magic and mystery in your life, and the signs are all around you, and I just encourage you to stop and be still in order to see them. It's powerful. It's super powerful. I love you guys, and I will see you very soon. Bye.